Thank you, Grace. We told you at the beginning of the show that we have people everywhere. So we're going to welcome in Tom Loy of Irish Illustrated to give us a rundown of the top 10 class for Notre Dame. Tom, speak to the Irish fans right now. What should they be most excited about with this year's haul?
I honestly think it goes back to the fact that you had your two best players in the class, arguably your two best players in the class, C.J. Carr, quarterback, Cam Williams, your receiver. They committed in June of 2022, way back when, and they never wavered. They did everything possible to, really push this class to the next level. They recruited guys like Kingston Viliamu-Asa, Kedron Young, Gerby Lambert, all the top guys. They took pride in it. They wanted to build something, and it really paid off. I mean, I really think that's the big takeaway. Relationships were huge for these guys. It really mattered, and they really have a lot of pride for Notre Dame. They love head coach Marcus Freeman, and that type of attitude is super rare. I mean, we're seeing it all day today. Guys are flipping, guys are wavering, not these two. So that was probably my big takeaway from the entire class. I mean, I'm just, Notre Dame fans, show those guys a lot of love. C.J. Carr, Cam Williams.
I love it. Let's show some love to the quarterback room because it's not just this class that's impacted by it. Yes, C.J. Carr looking to come in. You got Kenny Minchey from last year and then Riley Leonard, a big pickup in the portal. So how do you evaluate the quarterback room right now for Notre Dame?
I honestly think top to bottom, it's probably the best I've ever seen it since I've been covering them since back in 2013. Riley Leonard's a tremendous pickup. He's going to do great things for Notre Dame. I really like the direction of where things are trending offensively. I know they have a new offensive coordinator coming in with Jared Parker leaving to become the head coach at Troy. But all in all, with the pieces, when you look at Riley Leonard, you look at Steve Angeli if he stays around, and Kenny Minchey, and I absolutely love C.J. Carr. I think he's, in my opinion, a five-star caliber player. So when you mix them with the guys that they went out and got in the portal at receiver, Bo Collins, Chris Mitchell, guys coming back, Jaden Greathouse, Eli Raridan, Mitchell Evans, there's just so much talent right now. So I really think that they moved in a good direction with Sam Hartman in the offense this year, but I think they're really just scratching the surface to how good they can be, and I think it's going to come to light in 2024.
You mentioned just how committed this group is to Notre Dame football. As we see Marcus Freeman continue to stack these classes, what does it mean for the future of this program?
I think Marcus Freeman's doing all the right things. I know he was one of the best recruiters in the country when he was a defensive coordinator, and he takes pride in that as the head coach. I mean, he said it from day one. He wants to be the best recruiter in that building. So they're doing all the right things. They're winning on the field. Yes, they had a couple hiccups a year ago against Marshall and Stanford. Didn't see that this year. There was, Louisville. The loss to Louisville ended up being actually a pretty tough loss, but Louisville ended up being a good team. So they're moving in the right direction. And again, I really think that they're just scratching the surface. I mean, look at the screen. C.J. Carr, Cam Williams, Kingston Viliamu-Asa. I mean, this class is absolutely loaded. I think you can make an argument, and just my opinion, because I love what our national guys do, but C.J. Carr, Cam Williams, Kingston Viliamu-Asa, Gerby Lambert, and Kedron Young. I think you can make an argument. They're among the best at their position nationally, five-star talent, caliber type players. So Marcus Freeman is identifying the right guys and bringing them in. And it's no longer that they're just targets. They're actually securing their commitments. It's a big deal. Notre Dame's trending in the right direction.
When you look at some of the position groups or the type of skill position that they bring into Notre Dame, what have you learned about what Marcus Freeman's strategy is when it comes to taking guys from the high school level? Have you noticed anything that he kind of leans towards or focuses on?
I know he's definitely focused on not worrying about area, but actually just recruiting the best players in America. I know he wants to win in the trenches. He wants big bodies up front. I mean, I'm sure all coaches do. But I just really like the type of guys that they're bringing in. Yes, they're great kids, come from great families. Academics obviously matter to them, but they're actually landing like NFL caliber kids, the guys I mentioned before. So that's really what's different. I mean, in my opinion, when Brian Kelly was at Notre Dame, he took a lot of soft takes, some guys that were heavy leans early, maybe not, instead of really pushing for the top players across the country, he would take kind of like that middle tier, maybe right in between, and really not go all in until the end. And I think Marcus Freeman and his staff are absolutely, going after the best of the best and the elite guys, and that's paying off. So that's why you see guys like a Kedron Young, get him out of Texas and really beat some heavy hitters for him, and C.J. Carr pulling him away from Michigan. So he's doing all the right things, and he's recruiting the right guys, and I think everybody's on board.
Also very active in the transfer portal. Tom, thank you so much for being here. You can check out more of his work on irishillustrated.com. Thanks, Tom. Let's bring it back here at our Fort Lauderdale set. Our director of scouting, Andrew Ivins, national recruiting analyst Blair Angulo, two guys that know all about really everything. But we're going to hone in a little bit more on Notre Dame. This is a top 10 class, number 9 right now. You heard Tom Lloyd just talk about the depth and the amount of talent at different positions that they've brought in. What stands out to you most about this Irish Hall?
We've talked a lot about the quarterbacks in that room there in South Bend, and for good reason. But what about just how athletic Notre Dame is getting with Marcus Freeman kind of running the show now? Cam Williams, I think in any other year, Cam Williams is probably a 5-star wide receiver. This just happens to be one of the most loaded cycles ever, and we'll see how it all finishes. You know, he's a guy that's slated to be in the All-American Bowl, but I think at the second level, the perimeter, the skill talent, Marcus Freeman is recruiting a different type of athlete. So to me, that's what stands out. And then the NFL legacies. Brian Urlacher kid's going to go there. Byron Young, his dad was a first-round pick. Micah Gilbert related to Darrell Revis.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, it's just an indicator we kind of look for, you know, the NFL bloodlines and Notre Dame cleaning up in that department.
Kennedy Urlacher, a really good safety from the state of Arizona, really physical, is going to remind people of his father there in the Midwest. You mentioned athleticism. I want to mention physicality. Kingston Viliamu Asa, one of the more physical players in this in this class in the country. He's going to make you feel him at the line of scrimmage. He's a run stuffer. They beat out USC, which is in his own backyard. He's out of St. John Bosco, comes from a winning program, and they also beat out Ohio State. So it was a big marquee recruiting victory for Marcus Freeman to go out west and continue to stamp and plant that flag for the Irish. And remember, they're losing Maris Liufau, who was a really experienced linebacker. I think Notre Dame fans were getting used to seeing the hair flowing out of his helmet. Kingston Viliamu Asa is going to remind a lot of people of Maris Liufau.